Former special counsel Robert Hur is defending his report on President Biden's mishandling of classified documents. He did so during a House hearing yesterday. He said Biden willfully retained the documents, and he even read out classified information to his ghostwriter. Both Democrat and Republican lawmakers clashed over his findings. Watch.
The president, I did not share classified information. I did not share it. I guarantee I did not. That's not true, is it, Mr. Hur?
That is inconsistent with the findings based on the evidence in my report.
Yes, it's a lie.
So that the likely outcome
you exonerated
would be a conviction.
I know that the term willful retention has a... Mr. Hur, it's my time.
All I have to do when I'm caught taking home classified materials to say, I'm sorry, Mr. Herbert, but I'm getting old. My memory's not so great.
Yeah, Congressman,
this is the doctrine that you've established in our laws now, and it's frightening.
You cannot tell me you're so naive as to think your words would not have created a political firestorm.
what you are suggesting is that I shape, sanitize, omit portions of my reasoning and explanation to the Attorney General for political reasons.
No, I suggest that you not shape your report for political reasons, which is what you did.
That did not happen, Congressman. That did not happen.
Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany asking her whether the White House interfered with the final draft of his report. Watch this.
That February 5th letter that was sent to you asking you to change references to the president's poor memory, wasn't there a request by the White House to do that?
There was a request, yes.
Didn't the White House then go to the Attorney General himself and say that he would like to see changes to the references in regards to the president's memory?
The White House counsel did send such a letter.
The White House now declaring President Biden is innocent, saying that they are ready to move on from the Hur investigation. Watch this.
I think the main thing to take away from today is two words for the American people: case closed.
Joining me right now is Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany, a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, what did you learn yesterday, and is that appropriate? Case closed.
Maria, I really enjoyed that response you just played. Yeah, I'd want to say case is closed also. I thought one of the best exchanges and really the money quote from yesterday came in questioning from Representative Kiley from California when he said, could a reasonable voter convict in this case? And Mr. Hur said yes. And so it's very clear this was a pattern of conduct by President Biden as vice president, then citizen Joe Biden. Clearly a pattern of conduct. If this was just a one-off, Maria, yeah, I mean, you give people a break. But this is a man who spent his career in politics, knows how to play the game, knows how classified documents work, and he chose to ignore the law.
Well, I mean, maybe it's a pattern, but will there ever be any accountability for it? I mean, Democrats made the hearing all about former President Trump yesterday, claiming that Hur wrote the report to help Trump become president again. Watch this.
And you're doing everything you can do to get President Trump reelected so that you can get appointed as a federal judge or perhaps to another position in the Department of Justice. Isn't that correct?
Congressman, I have no such aspirations.
I want to first see if you will pledge to not accept an appointment from Donald Trump if he is elected again as president.
Congressman, I'm not here to testify
Seems like an easy
about
answer.
what will happen in the future.
President Biden had the mental acuity to navigate this situation. Donald Trump did not.
No, I suggest that you not shape your report for political reasons, which is what you did.
That did not happen, Congressman. That did not happen.
Congressman, your reaction.
Maria, they are in full panic mode. You have seen the polling. Up to like, what is it, 60% of Democrats do not want Joe Biden running for president. They are in full panic mode.
Lee, your numbers prove that.
Yeah, I mean, 63% of Americans right now are questioning his mental fitness. It's a staggering number when you think about it. Only 30. I mean, that's only 1/3 of Americans think that he's up for the job. That is staggering.
They are staggering numbers. Todd, jump in.
Congressman, there's reportedly a damage assessment underway with regard to the impact of these classified materials. What does that mean, Congressman? What can we expect to come out of this quote-unquote damage assessment?
who is doing the damage assessment? Can you share that with me?
Sure. Special counsel Robert Hur confirmed that the Justice Department and intel communities are performing this damage assessment. I've just never heard of anything like this within this context, and I'm just curious as to what happens from here. Where does it go from here?
Let's just be clear. The White House feels that his language about Biden being an elderly man with a bad memory has caused damage.
Yeah, well, it's very clearly done that. I think Mr. Hur's testimony is a good piece. While it's a small piece, it's a very good piece that fits into what has been happening with Representative Comer and the Oversight Committee. And I think this will be additive for the American people. I mean, what did Mr. Hur, in effect, say yesterday? I'm going to leave this to the voters of the United States of America to decide who they want as president and whether Joe Biden should continue to have a second term as president. I think that's ultimately what he was saying.
Well, look, the White House wants this to just go away and move on. They also want us to believe that given Mr. Smirnoff was indicted, that the inquiry into impeachment for Biden should go away as well. They want the investigation into Hunter Biden shut down. The Oversight Committee has subpoenaed AT&T now. They want 15 years of Hunter Biden's phone records. Hunter Biden and his former business partners, Devin Archer and Jason Galanis and Tony Bobulinski, also invited to testify publicly next Wednesday. Congressman, where does the impeachment inquiry stand, and what does next Wednesday's testimony get you, where everybody on both sides of the aisle gets 5 minutes to ask these folks a question?
So where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think we're getting closer to the fire. And that's where Mr. Hur's testimony yesterday was valuable. As we move forward, I mean, we're going to find more information. The information has continued to drop steadily, week after week, over the last year in regards to the Biden family and their illicit dealings. And remember, Maria, what this is really all about is, yes, you have someone who's trying to enrich himself and his family, but this is about the national security concerns when you have countries that are adversaries, in particular China, that are looking for openings of political operatives, political elected officials that may be subject or susceptible to being compromised here in America.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And we find this very, very important. And we put a spotlight on the Chinese Communist Party every single day. But, Congressman, we're wondering where this is going. What do you believe to be is the most damning evidence to prove what you just said?
I think it's the 20 phone calls that Joe Biden said I did not do. It's the 20 shell companies, over $20 million. And when you find checks, like the $40,000 check that came directly from the Chinese to Joe Biden's bank account, it's those type of things, I think, that are creating the solid paper trail that shows there's proof that what is being done is illegal by the Biden family.
And just to be clear, the $40,000 check you're referring to was 10% of $400,000 that came from China, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And think about yesterday, Maria, when Joe Biden gets this $8 million book deal, and that's part of the point I was trying to make in my testimony.
Yep.
This is a pattern of conduct by Joe Biden trying to enrich himself.
All right, Congressman, we'll keep following it. Thanks very much.